Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the weekend edition at Shine Bright Studios. I am your host, that infamous DJ Shy Guy of Shine Bright Studios, and we're going to go into something that once again just came into my lap. And I know with this being my home state, this is something that we all might want to pay attention to. What we're about to look at is we're about to look at your candidates for governor. In the red corner, we have our beloved black immigrant, Winsome Earl Sears, who also served in the Marines, as you're probably going to hear a whole lot of that, as she squares off against her opponent in the blue corner. We have the Democratic version of Clarice Starling from Silence of the Lambs. We have Abby Spanberger, as they are going to spend the next good while trying to convince you why people like me or you should be voting for them. We're gonna start from the debate rules so that way we're all kind of on the same page, because as soon as this train starts, we about to be real lost. And I'm probably going to say this is going to be the part series, since we only have but so much time per episode. This might be a multiple episode, but on that note,
I want to ask you some real simple questions and I want some real simple answers. You understand?
that's all we want to. But let's get into it.
You will each have 60 seconds to answer a question. Rebuttals and follow ups get 30 seconds. Candidates, when time is up, you'll hear this bell. Each candidate
Dinner's
will also
ready.
have 30 seconds for a closing statement. And with that, thanks for joining us, candidates. Miss Earl Sears, you're first. Tom.
Thank you, Deanna. We want to begin tonight with a topic that may be the only thing that unites all residents of the Commonwealth of Virginia, the dreaded car tax. Ms. Earl Sears, you have said that you will axe the car tax in your first year in office, but you will have to replace the revenue for local governments. So how will you come up with just over $3 billion every year? You'll have 60 seconds.
Yes, thank you for having me, and it's a wonderful time to be here, this momentous occasion. This is my former place that I actually represented, Norfolk State University. So on the car tax, we could have gotten rid of that this year because Governor Youngkin put it in his budget that we could get rid of it, but unfortunately the Democrats decided against that, and
So if you had the money to cover it, why didn't y'all go through with it? You're gonna blame the left? Surprise, surprise. Already.
so my opponent, she says she's going to get rid of it too, but she's going to have to ask her side of the aisle how to do that. So we had the money, we can do it, but really what I want to ask this first question is, Abigail,
So why aren't y'all doing it? What if y'all say y'all could get rid of the car tax? Why aren't y'all doing it? This is why it's stuff like this is why your head's on the chopping block. It's stuff like this is why Virginia is potentially going to be all the way blue.
when are you going to take Jay Jones and say,
See, this was unnecessary. Like, she's already trying to start the mudslinging, and we haven't gotten to that yet. Like, she wants to try to put her foot down. Ma'am, do you not realize your opponent is the epitome of Miss DEI? Yeah, I said it and I meant it. Your opponent is the epitome of Miss DEI, and you're gonna try to already go with the haymakers. Shows you why you probably won't be getting some of them votes.
Say to him, you must leave the race. He has said that he wants to murder his political opponent, and not only that, but his political opponent's children.
So let me ask you a question. If you were willing to stand behind a half-baked potato that tweeted at one point when it was really bad, when the looting starts, the shooting starts, if you're willing to stand behind a man that basically let an invasion take place on our history, a man that pardoned 1,600 people, and I'd probably say a pinch of them, they had a worse fate coming for them. Pause. Let's continue.
Ms. Earl Sears.
And 5 years old.
Ms. Earl Sears, we're going to get to that question in a moment, but first we're talking about
the
car
tax.
tax.
Answer the question.
You know, this actually debunks, what's that, Matt Walsh, that tried to say Karen could be used as racial epithet. Nope, because Winnie Sears is acting like a whole Karen right now. Like, I want her to answer.
We're talking about the car tax right now.
That was still my time.
Yes, but I want to get an answer from you. How would you come up with just over $3 billion a year for the car tax? I'll give you 15 seconds to clarify.
Yes. So as I said, we have the money. We have run budget surpluses every year that we've been in office. Over $10 billion, $9 billion of which we've given back to the Virginia taxpayer. That's serious money, and the taxpayers want that. And when I am governor, I'm going to have a form that says, check here if you want to pay more in taxes. But my opponent needs to answer about...
Really? That sounds like the old, when you were in elementary school and you had that partner that you like, do you like me? Check yes or check no. You said you could have eliminated the car tax during Youngkin's term. Why didn't y'all?
Jay Jones.
Your time's up, Ms. Earl Sears. Ms. Spanberger, you've said that you'd like to get rid of the car tax. Will you make a commitment here tonight that you will make that a priority? And where do you intend to find the money for local governments every year if that tax is eliminated? You have 60 seconds.
The car tax is the most hated tax in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And in fact, that has been the case for many, many years. My husband, Adam, who is here this evening, actually wrote a paper in high school about the hated car tax. And year after year, many people make promises about getting rid of the car tax, but without a plan to do it. Unfortunately, my opponent went in the...
Ma'am, where's your plan? You're saying a lot of people don't have a plan to do it. What's your plan? Unfortunately, I have to side with the cosplayer because she at least said that they had the money to do it, but lefties like you were holding up progress.
Legislature had the opportunity to lower the car tax by 10% and voted against it. Now, in the 4 years that she has been the lieutenant governor, she hasn't made the effort or endeavored to get rid of this tax. And in fact, I will work with anyone, to Democrats, Republicans, local and state officials to finally get rid of this most dreaded tax. In fact, it requires significant planning and cooperation. But I have a history of getting rid of hated taxes during my time in Congress. I repealed with bipartisan support a unfair tax on firefighters, police, and public servants. I have gotten rid of the hated tax in the past by building a coalition, and I will do it again.
So, Ms. Spanberger, how would you come up with just over $3 billion to fund that car tax for local governments?
It requires bringing people together, Democrats and Republicans, to put any and all possible paths forward on the table. You are correct that we need to.
So what's your plan outside of we have to work with demon rats and Republicans? Ma'am, make sense of it. We kind of figured out that you'd have to have Team Red and Team Blue come together on things like this.
Ensure that the loss of the car tax doesn't mean loss of funding to our public schools and to our first responders.
Let her clarify.
And so in work.
To say that funding going back to public schools, ma'am, in math recovery, Virginia is dead ass last. And trying to pull itself up from COVID. Like education wise, I believe Virginia is in the top 20. Let me double check that. Okay, Virginia's 2025 education rankings vary by source, but it generally performs well, appearing in the top 10 for overall public education. Public education rating, according to Consumer Affairs, ranks Virginia 7th in its 2025 public education ranking and 7th for K-12 performance. School quality, Virginia ranks 4th in the nation for school quality and 3rd for safety. Graduation rates, Virginia's on-time graduation rates is approximately 89.1% in 2022, which is above the national average. So wouldn't you think you'd want to keep the funding in public schools?
Working together, we will work to not only repeal this tax, which of course also requires a constitutional amendment, but ensure our communities are funded.
Your time is up.
It doesn't require a constitutional amendment.
There we go.
On to the next
Just
topic.
a decision.
Deanna?
Okay, madam, if it requires such a decision, why didn't you make it? Why aren't you putting education in the forefront?
Thanks, Tom. Our next question is about the temperature and tone of political speech. The first example has been shaping the race for governor and attorney general for the past week. You both will have a chance for rebuttal. Democratic Attorney General nominee Jay Jones admits he sent text messages to a colleague referencing former Republican House Speaker Todd Gilbert. Here's what he wrote.
Jones. 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler.
This motherfucker act like he in Call of Duty saying this.
Put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time.
Man. you Democrats are... Y'all basically hanging yourselves. Y'all already fumbled the ball about a month ago with the person from the Colorful Coalition sabotaging Winnie's program. Now you got this being splashed all over. Y'all are making it easy for Winnie to take it. I mean, just this when he's put up. Maybe he should get the collateral medal, like it's Call of Duty. Like, sir, don't you make 6 figures and you trying to run for office? You out.
Colleague. Jay, please stop. Jones. LOL, okay. I mean, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes. Colleague. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. Jones, yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy.
Jay Jones has apologized and says he takes full responsibility for those messages. Ms. Spanberger, you have called the comments disgusting and said you condemn violence. The question for you tonight is, were you aware of these messages before they were released publicly? And will you continue to endorse Jay Jones as the next Attorney General of Virginia? You have 60 seconds.
The comments that Jay Jones made are absolutely abhorrent. I denounced them when I learned of them, and I will denounce them every opportunity I get. As a mother, as a public servant, as a candidate for governor, I denounce them. And it is important that candidates always denounce violence on no matter which side of the aisle. Violence, violent rhetoric, we should always be focused and forceful in our denouncement
Question is, are
of
you
it.
going to tell him
And
to get
importantly,
out of
please
my
give her an
opponent, unfortunately, only denounces violence when her side is the target.
Don't
I
lie
hope
like that,
into the
Abigail.
future she will endeavor to denounce violent rhetoric and violence no matter who the victim. And tonight, Lieutenant Governor
Are you
Earl
just
Sears,
denouncing
I
it,
will
or
say,
you
routinely referred to me
Ms. Earl
as
Sears,
your
Ms. Earl
enemy.
Sears, just please give
You
her a chance to
routinely
respond.
refer to me as your enemy. I'm not your enemy. You are not my enemy. We are political opponents, and tonight voters are here to listen to
today
the
you're
policy
saying that,
differences
but you
that
Earl Sears,
we
fuel
have.
your
Ms. Earl
rage.
Sears,
So as
please
we
give her a
move
chance.
forward, we
We'll both
must
have chance to
continue
respond.
to set a good example for all of our children.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. I didn't hear an answer there on the endorsement
And the cattiness is underway.
issue, so I want to just make sure. Will you continue to endorse Jay Jones to be the next Attorney General of Virginia? And were you aware of these text messages before they released? You have 30 seconds.
In fact, it appears that it was those who released the text messages and held them for years. So the public was unaware who had knowledge of.
Ma'am, take the public out. Were you aware?
These
When did you
text
know?
messages
And
for
what
many
did
of us.
you do about
I
it?
learned
Please
of
give
these
her the
text
chance.
messages the day that they came out, and I denounced them as soon as I learned of
She
them.
denounces murder.
And
Ms. Earl Sears,
importantly, at this point, as we move forward, the voters now have this information that was withheld for them,
You're running to be
presumably for
Ms. Earl
political
Sears, please.
reasons. But the voters now have the information, and it is up to voters to make an individual choice based on this information.
Ms. Spanberger, I understand what you're saying about the voters, but for you yourself, do you still continue to endorse Jay Jones? 15 seconds, yes or no?
We are all running our individual races. I believe my opponent has said that about
time is
her
the
lieutenant
charm,
governor
Abigail.
nominee.
Ms. Earl
running
Sears,
And it is
Ms. Earl
up to
Sears.
every person to make their own decision. I am running my race to serve Virginia, and that is what I intend to do.
Say another motherfucking word and this shit is over.
Ma'am, you are dancing around the question. Are you going to support Jones or not? Yes or no? And why am I leaning towards Winnie over here? She might be trying to cut through your time, but we need answers. Just asking for some friends.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. We just want to clarify, what you're saying is that as of now, you still endorse Jay Jones as Attorney General.
I'm saying as of now, it's up to every voter.
Ma'am, answer the question. Do you still endorse him?
To make their own individual decision. I am running for governor. I am accountable for the words
That would
that
be
I
she still
say,
endorses
for
him.
the acts that I take, for the policies that
Okay.
I have put out.
Thank you.
I am responsible for the policies I put out and the work I will endeavor to do tirelessly
You are
for
responsible
the people
as
of
governor.
Virginia.
Thank you,
Quit
Ms.
playing.
Spanberger.
I didn't.
Ms. Earl Sears, before we get to rebuttals, because we will get to rebuttals, we have a question for you. While there is no equivalency, this next example does speak to the divided nature of our country. During the Charlie Kirk Memorial, President Trump said, quote, I hate my opponent and I don't want the best for them. Is there a place for that kind of political speech? You have 60 seconds.
Well, I think, as everybody knows, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian before I'm a Republican, and I'm required to forgive people. And it's hard sometimes when somebody has abused you, etc. But it's something you must do, because not to forgive is almost like, as someone said, you drink poison thinking that it's going to affect the other person. And I want to live a decent life, and I don't want to not have peace in my life. And so as I've said before, I would not say that. So that's why I'm wondering why my opponent won't say, beyond it's abhorrent and disgusting, why she won't say it is not okay and that he must leave the race, because Jay Jones advocated the murder, Abigail, the murder of a man, a former speaker, as well as his children, who were 2 and 5 years old.
Say it again. Say something else. Oh! Say something else. Say something else. No, say it again.
Why are you going backwards, ma'am? This is why Virginia about to flip blue. Because you keep going backwards. You need to be worried about Abby. You don't need to be worried about Jay. Because even if your attorney went in, somebody that your lieutenant governor, I forgot his name, John something, who's part of the Colorful Coalition, came into play, your tone would be a whole hell of a lot different. Let's not do that.
You have little girls. What would it take him pulling the trigger? Is that what would do it? And then you would say he needs to get out of the race? Abigail, you have nothing to say? Abigail, what if he said it about your 3 children? Is that when you would say he should get out of the race, Abigail? You're running to be governor.
Ms. Earl Sears, I know you're saying that you would not personally say this, but do you think still that there is that place for that kind of rhetoric, the example that we gave, even coming from others? You have 30 seconds.
So I'm responsible for my behavior and what I've just said. I wouldn't say that. I would not speak that way. Look, I'm from a third world country. I was born in Jamaica. And when I was 10 years old, I saw that kind of political violence, which is why I'm asking my opponent to please ask him to get out of the race. Have some political courage. What you have done is you are taking political calculations about your future as governor. Well, as governor, you have to make hard choices. And that means telling Jay Jones to leave the race. I have seen what it means when people are shot in the streets and thrown in the back of cars just for political purposes. I don't want to see that in America. America must never.
Ma'am, she can't touch Jones right now because, like y'all trying to run for the chair.
Be that place, and Abigail needs to say something.
Ms. Earl Sears, you're out of time there. We do have one more follow-up question for you before we get to rebuttals. One more question for you. This is on the topic of endorsements. President Trump has endorsed the Republican incumbent Attorney General. Do you need Trump's endorsement to win the race in Virginia? You have 30 seconds.
So I will take all endorsements, including the president, and I am working very hard for the people of Virginia. I believe in lower taxes. The people want that. My opponent, unfortunately, she's already said she's going to raise taxes. She's going to raise energy rates. Well, she's already voted that way because, well, that's all she wants is solar and wind. Well, if you look outside, the sun isn't shining and the breeze isn't blowing. And then what, Abigail? What will you do? What will you do? You're smirking. And you know that the people of the Southwest have a lot of energy issues.
Ms. Earl Sears, we need to get to rebuttals. So, Ms. Spanberger.
Ma'am, I'm just asking from a recovering alcoholic. If you were to just put the term on it, how much of that overproof you been having? Because you getting a little wild and off course.
you have 30 seconds to respond.
I think in her response to the question that you asked, my opponent proved my point, which is when violent rhetoric comes from her side of the aisle, she refuses to denounce it. The statement that you read from President Donald Trump was violent rhetoric that she refuses to denounce, and this is why I say you are not
Earl Sears,
my
she
enemy.
has her 30
And I
seconds.
wish
She'll
you would
have
stop
murder.
using language like that. But I am also glad that she
Not to
began
forgive
speaking
is
about
something.
issues
Murder
of
is
affordability,
something
because
else,
Ms. Earl Sears,
as
the
we are
viewers won't
talking
be able
about
to hear.
issues of affordability, I am the only candidate on stage who's put forth a plan to actually lower costs for Virginians.
Ms. Earl Sears, now your turn for a rebuttal.
Yes.
You have 30 seconds.
So
She already took half a homegirl's rebuttal. Said also some of stuff like this is why Winnie about to go down bad.
what Abigail has just said is a lie, that she's the only one who has affordability. Please go to Spanbergerlies.com and check that out. I don't understand.
No, my name is no. My sign is no. My number is no.
You're not funny, ma'am.
Why you just can't come forward and say he needs to go. I mean, we're talking about murder. We're talking about someone's life being taken from them. Have you nothing to say about that? Are you?
This is how I want to say, who was it? Terry McAuliffe. It's stunts like what she's doing right now is why Virginia got stuck with Glenn Youngkin instead of Terry McAuliffe, because McAuliffe couldn't keep Trump's name out his mouth, and everybody done blew right by him. Pause. Like with Winnie here, as said, and I know I've probably said this once before, she's probably going to try to use she's trying to use Trump's playbook, especially when it comes to the colorful coalition.
Not going to address it. Really, you can't go any further. You're a governor. You're supposed to stand up for all the people. Are you saying political murder is all right?
Ms. Spanberger, I want to give you a chance
I
to
have a
respond
rebuttal to
since
that?
yes.
Once
You have
again,
30 seconds.
I have denounced political violence, political rhetoric, no matter who is leading the charge. When given the opportunity, Lieutenant Governor Earl Sears, you have not done the same.
No matter who is leading the
And
charge
so
on
when
what?
it is important that all
When
of us set
someone
a better
showed a sign
example.
that-
Why are you talking? I'm just trying to explain. Why are your lips moving?
Yeah, can we enjoy some of this? Please. Ma'am, this is said why you're probably going to be going down bad.
As
Mr. Olsen,
said,
so
if I
importantly,
could not drink
no
from
matter
the water
who
fountain,
is
it took you
Ms.
a whole
providing
day to say
the comments
something,
Mr. Olsen,
that
we
are
need to move on,
advocating
but it's
for
difficult
political-
for us to hear.
She has
if
no
you're both
courage.
talk-
You
but it's-
cannot be governor. No courage.
The audience can't hear when you're talking over each other, so we just want to make sure that we limit that so people can hear.
She has no courage.
We're
Okay.
going to the next topic now.
Yes, we are moving on to the next topic with Tom on federal workers.
Thank you, Deanna. It's been more than a week since federal lawmakers allowed the government to shut down. With more than 150,000 government workers, Virginia is facing the brunt of the impact. So, Ms. Earl Sears, knowing its impact on Virginia, if you were governor now, would you ask the president to use his power to work with Democrats to reopen the government? You have 60 seconds.
So my opponent all summer long has been playing political football with federal workers by trying to say that she loves them more than anyone else. Well, let me tell you what love looks like. It looks like Abigail calling Senators Kaine and Warner and telling them, go back, do your job, and vote against the government shutdown. We only need eight Democratic senators. That's all we need. And we cannot find 8. And yet we can find 2 in Virginia. When are you going to publicly say to Senators Kaine and Warner, go and do your job and keep federal workers working? That's the way you stop the shut.
Now you see now, you done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
Why don't you tell him in regards to that? We're going to get ready for part 2. Please stand by.